Welcome back to the DJ Sessions, where we feature the best DJs, producers, and industry professionals from the electronic music industry from around the world. I'm your host, Darren, and right now I'm sitting in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington, and coming in from halfway around the world. I always love it when they're halfway around the world, not fully around the world, because then they'd be right in our backyard. From Stuttgart, Germany, we have Khag. Khag, how's it going today?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm very fine. And you? How are you?
I'm doing great. Just had a great, nice, chill weekend. I actually got to go see some friends of mine play at a new warehouse, kind of in a city, not about 2.5, 3 hours away from where we live. But I'll tell you, the venue that I went to was amazing. It's called the North Warehouse in Portland, Oregon. And if you ever get over to the States, I'd suggest seeing if you can book this place and play it. But I had the chance of hanging out and chilling and watching Luttrell and Yotto playing at the North Warehouse. Nice. And it was just a phenomenal place. Got to meet the owner and brought the girlfriend with me, and it was her first time ever being there as well. And we just had a great time. So, what about yourself? What did you do over the weekend?
Last weekend, just a little bit chilling. I was on Mallorca the week before, a little bit traveling. So I had to do it calm this weekend. So just
I know how that goes.
Not that much.
The life of the industry can take its toll if you allow it to. Next week, and not this coming weekend, next weekend, I go down to Arizona. We're expanding down there in the Phoenix. But we could talk about that a lot more later, because we're here to let our viewers know more about you and what you're up to. And so just recently, just not too long ago, your latest remix came out called Tough. The Khag remix with Vasi and GT.
Yes. GT Office. Yeah,
it is Office. Okay. So what was it like working on that track and producing that? And it came out. I was listening to it right before the show, and it's pretty hard.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it was nice. It was a DJ competition, a remix competition, and there are a lot of great tracks from other DJs. So my remix didn't make it to the end, but I wanted to release it for free, that everyone could listen or can listen. It was really nice. I like to working on remixes. I did some in the past for Charmy or other artists, and it's nice to create your own sound on a nice track you listened before a lot, and it's nice to work in remixes.
Did they send it out, like, was it via stems, or did they just send you all the components of the songs?
Yeah, this time it was stems, and some I removed, of course, and some I used and changed it a little bit, and I did my own remix out of it. It was more a commercial track in the beginning, and I did a bass house, tech house track out of it. That's my favorite genre. So that's how I do it.
Bass house is your favorite genre?
Bass house and tech house. I really like to combine these two genres. And I also experimenting with other genres. I also did some more commercial stuff, more for the radios, with a singer on it. But my heart is beating a lot for bass house and tech house. Yeah.
And when you do, you participated in remix competitions before, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the difference between doing it when they give you stems and doing it when they don't give you stems? Is it harder to do it when it's not a stems version, or is it equally hard when you have both?
I like working with stems. It's that's what I prefer. For me, it's you have a solid base where you can just use some stems, and some stems are not for your genre you're making. So some are when there's a piano, for example, I would not take it for a bass house tech house track, only if I change it and maybe doing some effects on it. So yes, I like more working with stems. Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit more of your tracks later, but I'm going to jump back to our first question I should have asked is Cage. Where's the name come from?
Yeah. It's just my initials. My real name is Kevin Hulk, and it's KH. So Cage is the combination. Not that innovative, but I was searching for a name when I was 16 when I starting to making music, and that was my idea I had with a friend, and I really like it. And the free at the end, so that would be that's an E, the free. It's for my idol, I would say, where I come or where I were discovering electronic music. It was Blau, Free Lau. So he has also a free, but he uses it for a B, but okay. But I like to to have this combination to my idol. Yeah. And he did so great mashups. Maybe the Dance Floor Filth. It was a mashup compilation. And when I listened to this compilation, I were starting making my own mashups and my own mixes, and later I started producing. But that's the origin of my name.
What's the longest time you've ever spent working in the studio on a track?
Hard to say. I have a track where I did 45 versions. Because every time I listened to it, I thought, no, that could be louder, or that could be better, outstanding, or there's missing some second clap or something like this. So I can't tell you the hours, but 45 versions, I would say it's a long time to get there. Yes.
It reminds me of the first time I ever decided to host my own television show. This is back in 2005-ish. I get in front of the camera. We were trying to get this really cool city in the backdrop behind us. It was freezing cold out in the middle of January. I think it was an intro for my show. It was 30 seconds. I did 64 takes.
Oh, wow.
64 takes on a 30-second intro. Yeah. And then I stopped counting. And this is also, we had to keep pausing each time because planes kept flying overhead. And we're getting an audio because we're in the flight pattern downtown. Yeah. And I'm sitting there holding the mic and I'm like, okay, forget this. But I know how that can go.
I'm sure
go ahead.
I'm sure if I listen to this track now, I would make another version.
And how much of a perfectionist are you?
Sorry?
Oh, how much of a perfectionist are you?
What is a perfectionist? Sorry.
Does it have to be 100% exactly right, and it's always never good enough until you say, okay, this is perfect?
I would say I'm not that perfectionist. I'm that much perfectionist. But it depends on the track. Sometimes I got an idea in my head and I just start making this track, and it really gets fast to the result I want to have. And sometimes it takes much longer, and I can't say if I would say I'm not a 100%, but it's good when it sounds good.
Absolutely. Yeah. And your latest track, I Wanna, which is was that on the Bomb Ass House label? I was listening to that when it came in right after listening to the Tough track, and I was like, I can get behind this. This is awesome. How long did it take you to produce that track?
That wasn't that much long, I think. It was I wanted to produce a more techie track this time, not that much bass house, and I wanted to have a melodic break. And maybe when you listen to it, it sounds a little bit like a Medusa break. But I didn't want it to do a Medusa break. It just happened when I were producing, and I thought, oh, that sounds a little bit similar, but it sounds nice. But it wasn't this track with the 45 versions.
And so, what for our audience members who don't know, what is a Medusa break?
I thought it's the you know Medusa, the DJ, the producer, yes, I don't know the track. Listen to my heart. I don't know. Yeah, but everyone knows it. It's on the radio all the time, and it's like a melodic track with a special sound, which he created, and it was just an accident that I created the same sound. Of course, not that good like Medusa, but similar. Yeah,
understandable. Awesome. Well, if you had to take a look at one of your productions that you've done so far, which one of those stands out the most to you, and why?
I really like my EP, Spacewalk EP I released, because these two tracks really fit together as an EP. I would say it's that is really nice, and I like Coming Back Around, a track I released on Digital Empire Records. It's more commercial, but I would say it is it's not 100% commercial. There are also bass house sounds in it. And something crazy happened just 2 or 3 weeks ago. I released Coming Back Around 2 years ago, 2 years ago. And 2 weeks ago, the track charted in Cyprus, and on place 99. But it's a chart track now, official, and I don't know why it charted 2 years later. I saw that that very much a lot of people were Shazam this track in Cyprus. I get a weekly update for it from Shazam, and I thought, okay, wow, why are they all Shazamming this track 2 years after releasing? And then I got the message that it charted, and nice. Sometimes a track has to be you have to wait for the success of the track sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what are 3 things that create inspiration for you? Like if you have something that when you say, okay, I'm out and I'm doing this in my life and this creates inspiration for me in the studio, 3 things.
It's when I'm producing music, I'm in it depends on the feeling I have sometimes. It's I'm producing music when I'm a little bit sad or something like that. Really other stuff I'm producing then when I when I had a really nice weekend and I'm happy and everything is good. So I would say a lot depends on the feeling you have in you when you are sitting down and making music. That's one thing. Then of course listening to other music. You get inspiration also from listening to other artists. I have my favorite artists in the bass house, tech house scene, like of course Jami. He's the bass house god, and or Peacemaker or other great artists. And sometimes I think I want to make this music, but in my own style, with my own sound. And I would say I'm searching for my original sound. I'm not found it already, but I want to find it. And and I want to want to have that people say, "Wow, this sounds like Cage." Yeah, I think that's the goal for every artist, of every producer. Yes, so listening to other music, the feeling you have, and yeah, that's what I'm thinking now.
And you mentioned that you listen to other artists and other shows. What are the top 3 regular shows, podcasts, live streams that you listen to?
Of course, the DJ sessions. But number 1.
Thank you.
And I'm listening more to other music on Spotify or to other playlists. I don't really watching DJ shows. There are a lot of DJ shows, good DJ shows, also from DJ Mag in Germany or other websites or but I watching a lot of tutorials on YouTube. That's how I started with producing, just watching tutorials. I don't have any instrument background, but I loved music all my life. Since I can think back, I was a dancer. I danced Latin and hip hop, and that was my relation to music. Not making music with instruments, but and yes. So what was the question in the beginning? I'm drifting a little bit.
I think it was gosh, I was listening 3 major things.
Okay, no problem. So
inspiration for you.
Yeah, right.
So you started out dancing before DJing?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you were in the crowd first before you started being like the crowd.
Yeah, if you can say. I was in dancing schools many years. I don't know. I think you call it Latin dance, right? Like tango, cha-cha-cha, something like this. Yeah. So that was my my beginning of listening to music. I wanted to dance to it. I was a little kid. I danced in front of my family, and and then I wanted to do more. I wanted to make my own mixes, and then I wanted to produce my own stuff. Yes.
When was the transformation point from dancing to DJing and then to producing? Mm-hmm. Was this all over a short period of time, or did it take phases of your life and say, okay, I was dancing for 10 years or 15 years or however long, and then I DJ'd for 3-5 years, and then I went producing? Or did DJ and producing come right in together when you started getting behind the decks?
Yeah. Like I told you, I first I get into contact with electronic music was when I listened to Blau, to his mashups. And a friend of mine showed it to me. And then I wanted to get more in the electronic scene. So I knew that a friend of mine in my school were a DJ in my hometown. And I thought, okay, let's try. I will talk to him and ask him if he could take me with him. But he didn't really know me. So I thought, okay, it wouldn't happen. But he said, okay, no problem. Really nice that you asked. And I will take you with me to the DJ gigs I have. First of all, I just watched, and then in my home, I tried a little bit teaching by myself. But he showed me everything, and then I get booked in my own in other clubs by myself without him, and yes, so that was the beginning, I would say, and maybe the transformation from dancing to making music. But I still love dancing.
Now, you have said a few DJ names over the course of the interview. Who would be your favorite DJ, and can you tell us why they're your favorite DJ?
Yeah, favorite DJ is Jami, of course. He's really, really good. I love his music. His music is every track is better than another track, than his last track. I really love listening to him. His last album, Year Zero, is so great. I listened to this album, I think, 100 times, and I really combine many feelings and locations with his album. So yes, Jami is a really, really nice artist. I saw him in many clubs and festivals, and he never disappoints. He's really, really good.
So you'd say he'd kind of be your biggest influence when it comes to your career as an artist?
Yes. Especially for bass house and tech house. So because of him, I found my genre, I would say. I could produce a big room or drum and bass, but I loved his music so much that I said I have to do the same music and to create my own style.
And as a DJ, what's been the craziest, weirdest request that you've ever got?
Yeah, of course. You get a lot of weird requests when you are DJing in the club, and I would say every time they are asking, "Do you have Spotify? Can you do this and this track, or do you have YouTube?" So they don't have any clue what we are making there in the DJ booth. So yes, and of course some crazy tracks which are not made for this crowd or for this club. I don't know how it would like a country in your in your land. It would be his Schlager. I don't know if you know it. Like Helene Fischer. I'm sure you know Helene Fischer. No? I think she's also big in the United States.
It sounds familiar, but I mean,
okay.
There's so much music out there; it's hard to follow sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
But what's been the wildest night from your career aside from getting the most weirdest requests? What's been the craziest night from your career that you can remember? It was like, this was the one night that stands out above all nights so far.
Yes, I have one. The friend I mentioned before who take me with him to the DJ gigs. One day he said, "You are now ready. You can make your own DJ gigs. So could you DJ on my birthday?" And I said, "Oh, really nice. That's great. I will do that." And he booked a whole club, and I was the DJ, and I was honored, of course, because he was my mentor. So I started, and some hours were going and or passing, and he brought a lot of drinks, and then there was the the time I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I can't see anymore this little letters there on the laptop. Could you just a half an hour, just 30 minutes, could you take?" And he looked at the letters. "Oh no, I didn't see anything. I don't see anything either." So yeah, I would say that was really funny. But the crowd was also very drunk, so they didn't mention it.
So you're partying during the party for your mentor, and you got a little too partying. That
happens. A little too much party. Yes,
that can definitely happen a lot. You know, you also do a regular podcast series. Is that correct? called Breakout.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell our DJ Sessions
right.
fans a little bit about Breakout and what we can expect to listen or see when we listen to that podcast.
Yeah, Breakout is a music podcast, a 60-minute DJ mix, and it's not just only a bass house podcast. It's a podcast with every genre. I can switch the genre many times in my 60-minute mix. So it's really every mix is really different because you never know what you get when you listen to it. And I got a lot of guests. My next guest, Hausium, is a bigger DJ. I really it's great that he is a guest on my next episode. So you listen to my DJ mixes and to DJ mixes from guests I listen to. Yes, and it comes out every month. You can listen to it on iTunes or hear this or Amazon Music and the normal platforms.
Is that Houseman you said?
Hausium, yes. Hausium.
How do you spell that?
A house, you write house and then IUM.
Okay, because I have Houseman coming on our series here shortly, and I was
okay.
Hey, maybe we're booking the same people. So, anyways, it's really awesome stuff. Well, that's congratulations on that. What episode are you on? What number of episodes?
I think 45. I'm now. The number is similar. I'm on episode 45. Yes, so I think it's now 5 years old, the podcast, and I really like doing every month a new DJ mix. Yeah. So you're about once a month. Awesome. Well, congratulations for keeping that going. I mean, it's a lot of people, a few years ago, kind of we saw this big boom of podcasters and live streamers, kind of an unprecedented boom because something unprecedented happened in the world. We don't need to talk about that. But, watching everyone jump online and saying, I got an idea for a podcast. And then, I was being inundated. A lot of people were calling me up. What kind of cameras do I get? What kind of microphones do I get? What kind of lighting do I get? Why do I have to worry about this copyright thing? All these questions were coming in, and it kind of just was interesting to see the explosion of podcasters come up, and kind of got down to it. And I've always been willing to give as much free advice as I can to podcasters and live streamers out there. I kind of started taking a step back and saying, why don't you go out there and get 100 podcasts under your belt if you're producing once a week, and then come and talk to me. Because you give a lot of advice to people and then they go and then it just stop doing. It's like, are you wasting my time? Are you I'm always down to help out, but I want to make sure I'm helping out people that are really motivated and want to do it. So again, keeping something going for 5 years, even if it is once a month, is still a feat in itself. Congratulations on that and keeping that going. I see the same thing. A lot of people seen this DJs in the television or on YouTube, and they think, okay, I want to do the same. I just buy a mixer and try a little bit, and maybe 1 or 2 YouTube tutorials, and then I will do the same, and I will play the biggest stages. But there's a lot of work to get on this big stage, and there are a lot of people a mixer, a cheap DJ mixer just costs €30 or something like this on Amazon or other stores. So everyone can buy it. So a lot of people are trying it, but not a lot of people are continuing with it.
I mean, that happens with any hobby, any sport, anything that becomes mainstream pop culture. People want to say, I like that, especially if they're an audience member and then they decided to make that jump. I started out in the crowd and dancing in the crowd. I mean, I was playing with video cameras as a kid, but I've never had a passion of wanting to learn how to DJ. And a lot of people think that's interesting since I produce a DJ show that I might want to at least understand what's going on. Like, yes, I understand the concept. You are beat matching, you are putting things in key, you are telling a story, you have your tempo, I understand all the mechanics of it. But the one thing I can't do is spend hours and hours and hours every week just looking for music. I have too much other stuff going on with the show.
Yeah.
And there's already so many DJs out there already that they're the artists and that's what they want to do. I want to be a producer. I want to be a guy making the show happen. They're the DJ. So I kind of saw a bridge there that could say, you're a DJ. Let's focus on what you're doing. Let me focus on what I'm doing with video production. Let's show the world what's going on. Yeah. I'm happy. They're happy. I have a life. They have a life. It's just, we both do different things with our hours in that life. So it's kind of really cool. But I like seeing, again, people at least taking that leap because a lot of people are shy. You get the bedroom DJ and they don't know how to put themselves out in front of a crowd. And maybe through getting in front of a camera or putting their stuff out there and saying, listen to me, they're now starting to get out of that bedroom and kind of in front, where in front of people, you can get that feedback, and that feedback is healthy for growth. If you're not getting feedback, you think you're just, I'm good. Yes. But you have to get that feedback. And there can be stage fright. I have a DJ friend of mine right now that our resident DJs are now going to start playing in their nightclub at their nights. He still will say, I am starting them out at 9:00, no matter how good they are. They're going to open. We'll see if they can play along to get along. And if they can open and transition the night and go with what we want to go with, we will book them on further slots. I go, I get it. We get it. You got to crawl before you walk. You got to walk before you can dance. So,
and there's no better feeling when you see the crowd dancing to you or reacting to your own music. I think that's the best feeling you can get. And that's also something I see. I see a lot of people just making or just DJing or making music. They want to become famous, and that is something I would say you can't get really successful with it. You have to do it because you feel it, and you want to get a feeling to your audience. And you do it not for the fame, you do it for the music, and it begins with a lot Instagram fake likes, followers. Just there are some Instagram profiles where someone calls himself a DJ, didn't release any track, only one post, but have 10,000 followers. How can that be? And that's also something I don't like to see. So I'm not 27. I'm not that old, but I'm a DJ since I'm 16 or 17, and that's something I think really changed. That the famous is now the most important thing, or the fame, and not the music. So I've seen the popularity go to people's heads before, and sometimes they think this is also a different effect. They think they're bigger than what they actually are, and then they go to another market and nobody knows who they are. And you can go and take a look at their socials and be like, really? You may be a great DJ, but your socials are here. Okay, but you think you're here. If I get this in frame, you think you're here. But you're here, and modesty and realism and or organic flow should really come through and speak for a DJ. I think that's something that through social media, unfortunately, like you said, being able to inflate social media, or social media becoming one of those things that a promoter might say, hey, this person does have 10,000 followers.
you have 500 followers. I'm going to book the person with 10,000 because they got more of a following. But where's the value in that? How do you assess the value in that? And it's very difficult. But there are tools out there like Polestar, which is a tool. I don't know if you're familiar with Polestar, but they'll go in the back end. You can pull data on people and be like, hey, their last show, they got paid $5,000 for, and it's been 3 or 4 years. What was the last show? Like last show they pulled $1,500 for. So if they come in, they're not going to be able to negotiate $5,000. Say, hey, you got paid $1,500 for your last 3 shows, or see how much they're getting paid. You can use that to kind of help negotiate, but that's usually only for the bigger artists. Not the smaller artists usually aren't listed up in Polestar and have tracking because they're not booking major club tours. And that information isn't getting reported back into the Polestar system. It'd be a very interesting way if somebody made a kind of DJ calculator or something, or a performance calculator, like this is this is this, this is this, this is this.
Yes.
Says this is what a fair price should be. But then it's all speculative because you could say, well, this person has maybe not played a lot of shows, but what if they're highly skilled and talented? So maybe they do get more. So it's all subjective. Very interesting in the entertainment game. A lot of negotiations and a lot of back end handshake deals that happen. But hey, at the end of the day, if the crowd's happy, the crowd is happy.
Absolutely.
Do you have any bad habits that are good for your career?
What do you mean with bad habits?
Bad habits, something that we probably shouldn't do because it would be detrimental to us, but it's good for your career.
Using the sync button. Yeah. Yeah.
The controversy behind that one.
Yeah. I think you should know how to mix without a sync button. But I think it's no problem to use it on a festival or DJ gig, or if you are playing 6 hours in a club. So no, I will not do any mixing without or by myself. I of course I will use the sync button, but
I think that's a general. If you see the debate that I have over years, going from vinyl to CDJs to flash drives, sync button, to eventually you're going to have the decks to just access the cloud, and you're going to be able to have track. Somebody's going to really walk up to you and go, "Oh, you got Spotify?" You're going to be like, "Yes, I do." And they go, "Can you look up this track?" And you're going to be like, "Yes, I can." Click, and it's going to come right in, and you'll be able to bring it right in if it's the right genre, if it's the right feel. But you're going to be able to be connected to the cloud and be able to have decks right into the cloud, and the syncing AI technology could get even better, as it goes, as we move forward, that you'll kind of see that phase that you see people standing around. If they're usually like, I'm a vinyl purist, they're probably as old as I am. They're probably in their mid 40s. I mean, even maybe early 40s, early 40s, but the 50-year-old, 60-year-old DJs like, I'm a vinyl purist. I'm a vinyl purist. Well, okay, technology moves forward. Okay, you're also not carrying around 10 crates of records with you now anymore, are you? And a coffin that you can't really get on a plane. Okay, so come on, embrace the technology and stop hating on those that might be using it. Same debate goes in my world, that when I first started doing my shows, it was getting more of a digital world, and we had computers to do our video editing on, and we could do more complex things than you could 10 years prior to that. So where the producer I was working under could produce maybe 1 show per week and distribute 1 show per week, I could produce 10 shows per week and distribute 10 shows a week. And he's like, well, smarter, cheaper, faster, better. And I'm like, well, yeah, you got a good point there, but still I'm accelerating with the technology because other people are accelerating with the technology. And if my competitor is putting out 10 shows a week, he keeps getting those people coming back and watching 10 times a week. If I do 1 show a week, I get it once a week. That's why, I mean, we're ramping up our productions 800% because content is king. But that's my decision as a producer to do that. So It's just technology, though, is what we're really talking about. I would never say, oh, if you're going to play on my show, you can't use the sync button.
Yeah, that's
I'm like,
stupid.
Yeah, it's your tool.
Why?
It's how you want to use it. It's there.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to use a
so
hammer,
you have to you have to know how to mix without the sync button. So sometimes the track isn't great analyzed from the program, and you have to use put off the sync button or switch off the sync button, and then some DJs maybe who played always with the sync button have their problems then.
And I'm assuming that most DJs know the tracks they're going to be playing too. Like they probably should practice their set before they perform it. Some DJs might just want to wing it and go off the fly, but they still know what's usually in their library 9 times out of 10. So if there was one production tip, one production suggestion that you could give the new producers out there, what would that be?
I think it's not to produce too much with your eyes, more with the ears. That's something I learned in the last months, that I were too much producing with my eyes. I saw the EQing, and I saw that looks right like this. I saw in a YouTube video or something that can't be right when I do this one, but it sounds better, so it is right. When it sounds better, it is right. And I think that's something you sometimes. It's also a tip I got from a DJ friend. When I producing, sometimes I put on an effect on a sample, and I close my eyes and I put it on and off, on and off, and on and off. And so I don't know when it's on or when it's off. And I will stop there when I think it sounds better, not with my eyes and think, now it's on, it have to be better. So that's something I would give as a tip to new producers. Produce with ears. What sounds right is right, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, is there anything you want to let our DJ Sessions fans know about before we let you get going?
I'm releasing a new track in 10 days, Deeper Inside. Like my social platforms, so you get updated. And a new episode of my Breakout podcast. You will find it everywhere. And I'm sure there are coming a lot more tracks. I'm in conversations with other also bigger labels, and I hope it will be released much more stuff in the next month. And
that is your studio you're in right there, right?
Yeah, my studio. Yes.
What kind of speakers are those?
The Yamaha. I bought it 8 years ago, I think. Yamaha. I don't know, X5 or something like this. I don't know the right. Yeah.
Awesome.
HS5. I think HS5. Yamaha HS5. Yes.
Are you a gamer as well, or is that just a studio chair?
Yeah, I'm also a gamer.
Yes. It looks like a pretty badass gamer chair you got in there.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm combining both.
Awesome. Well, Cage, thank you so much for coming on the DJ Sessions. Where can people find out more information about you?
Sorry?
Oh, where can people find out more information about you? What are the links?
Okay. Of course, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, SoundCloud, but also on Khag3.com. So there you can find all my information in one place. Yes.
And that is Khag3.com.
Right.
All right, cool.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, Cage, thank you so much for coming on the DJ Sessions. It was a pleasure having you. We'll follow up and catch up with you here in the next few months to see how things are going.
Thank you very much, Amy.
You're welcome. On that note, don't forget to go to our website, thedjsessions.com. Find us on Twitter, find us on TikTok, find us on Instagram, The DJ Sessions. We're even on that other thing called Facebook, too. It's The DJ Sessions. This is Darren coming to you live from Seattle, Washington with Cage all the way from Stuttgart, Germany for The DJ Sessions. And you know what happens on The DJ Sessions? The music never stops.